Every delay, every missed deadline, every headline about Camp Nou not being ready, almost all of it comes back to one single part of the stadium, the third tier. Welcome back to Global Megabuilds. We've covered the roof, we've covered the pitch. Today, we're zooming all the way in on the one section of Camp Nou that's genuinely been the bottleneck of this entire multi-year project. If you've ever wondered why a stadium renovation that started years ago is still not fully finished, this video is essentially the answer. The third tier is exactly what it sounds like. The highest ring of seating in the stadium, sitting above the existing two lower tiers. In the original Camp Nou, this tier already existed in some form, but as part of the Espai Barça redevelopment, it's being completely demolished and rebuilt from scratch as a new, larger tier with uniform height running consistently around the entire bowl. That single change is what pushes Camp Nou's total capacity past 105,000 seats once everything is finished, making it once again one of the largest football stadiums anywhere in the world. Recent site reports and aerial images show genuinely real tangible progress here. Concrete work has already been completed across several sections of the third tier, with crews now actively moving into the welding and waterproofing stages, both of which are necessary steps before any seating can even begin to be installed. This is meaningful progress, especially compared to where the project stood earlier this year, but it also tells you something important. Seats are not in yet, which means this entire tier is nowhere close to being fan-ready. Here's why the third tier specifically has been such a persistent headache for this project. It's not just a simple seating deck bolted onto the existing structure. It has to structurally tie directly into the compression ring and roof system sitting above it, all while resting on top of a bowl that's still partially in active use for football matches. Every phase has to be sequenced with extreme care. Concrete first, then structural steel connections, then waterproofing, then interior finishing, then finally seating, and each stage depends entirely on the one before it being fully cured, inspected, and signed off. Unlike building a brand new stadium from an empty field, this is being constructed around an active, historic venue that the club still needs to use, which multiplies the complexity at almost every single step. So when does this actually open to fans? Based on the latest reporting, expectations here have shifted more than once already, from an ambitious partial opening being floated for October or November, to a more conservative and realistic target of the third tier gradually coming into operation sometime during the 2026-27 season. In plain terms, don't expect to see the full, finished 105,000-seat Camp Nou on day one. Expect it in phases, section by section, likely stretching well into the season and possibly beyond. This is also exactly why the August 19th Joan Gamper Trophy against Al Ahly is being reported everywhere as a partial reopening, with a capacity far below that eventual 105,000-seat target. The third tier being unfinished is the single biggest reason for that reduced number. So when you're watching that opening match, look up toward the top of the bowl. That highest ring largely won't be in use yet, and you'll likely be able to see visible construction work continuing around it. If you're planning on attending a match at Camp Nou anytime soon after the reopening, go in with realistic expectations. You'll likely see scaffolding, hoarding, and active work zones around parts of the stadium, alongside a genuinely electric atmosphere in the sections that are finished. It's going to be a strange in-between period for the club, part historic homecoming, part active construction site, and honestly, that's part of what makes this such a fascinating project to document. Worth remembering, the old third tier wasn't a bad piece of engineering for its era, but it had uneven sight lines in places and varied in height around the bowl. The new uniform height design fixes both of those issues at once, which is part of why the club chose full demolition and rebuild over a simpler renovation. It's a harder path, but it produces a genuinely better stadium at the end of it. Going forward, the two milestones we're watching closest on the third tier are the completion of waterproofing across all sections and the first delivery of seating units to site. Once you start seeing actual seats being installed rather than just structural work, that's the clearest possible sign this tier is genuinely close to opening. It's worth asking why Barcelona didn't just close the stadium entirely for 2 or 3 years and reopen it fully finished in one go, rather than dealing with this drawn-out phased process. The honest answer comes down to money and momentum. A club of this size simply can't afford to go multiple full seasons without home matchday revenue, and a long total closure risks losing fan engagement and momentum during the wait. There's also a practical advantage to reopening in stages. The club gets to test the stadium under real matchday conditions before every single section is operational. Crowd movement, entrances, security, concessions, transport connections, and emergency procedures can all be observed with supporters actually inside the building. That creates an opportunity to identify problems early, rather than discovering them only after the entire stadium has been declared finished. In a venue expected to eventually handle more than 100,000 spectators, those real-world tests can be just as important as completing the physical construction itself. The phased approach is messier and slower to watch unfold, but it keeps the club financially and competitively active the entire time. One thing worth setting expectations on: even once seats are physically installed, filling that entire third tier with a genuine matchday atmosphere takes time too. New sections often start half-empty or reduced capacity even after opening, simply because ticketing and season ticket allocation for those seats has to be sorted out separately. So don't be surprised if the top tier looks a little sparse in its very first few matches, even after construction itself is technically finished. For longtime socios who've held seats in this exact section for decades, the third tier rebuild also means a genuinely new relationship with their own seat. Different sightlines, different row numbering, and in many cases an entirely different physical location in the bowl than the one they were used to before construction began. The club has had to manage that transition carefully, since a stadium isn't just steel and concrete to the people who've sat in the same spot for half their lives. It's memory and routine, and rebuilding it means asking a lot of loyal fans to adjust all over again. Out of everything we've covered in this series, the third tier is genuinely the one storyline we expect to keep returning to most often, simply because it's the single biggest visible marker of how close this stadium actually is to being finished. Every time a new section of seating goes in, or a new zone gets waterproofed and signed off, that's a real, measurable step toward the finished 105,000-seat stadium, far more concrete than any announcement or press release could ever be. We'll be tracking the third tier specifically as our main progress marker for full stadium completion going forward. Subscribe so you catch every single update. Drop a comment. What capacity do you think we'll actually see on August 19th? See you in the next one.